Hi everyone, and welcome back to Cenote Zapote for possibly the last time. I plan to go to another world soon, I promise. But here I had one more cool feature I wanted to show you and see if this was something you guys needed, because I'm sure it is. I've got an information board here, and it's fun to read, right? Especially in VR with our really high resolution glasses. Anyway, not everybody can read, and nobody really wants to, so you can press the button, and it's going to start speaking.
Cenote Zapote.
Oh my goodness. So we've got an information board here, and not only does it play one informational, when it's done playing the first information, it plays another one. So we get 2 pages of information, which we are only seeing one. So you get some bonus content, and everybody in the near distance, because we've set it to be 25 blocks, will hear this. This is so great. I am really excited about this. So now we don't have to read. We can just press the button, and people who aren't standing right here can also hear it and learn a couple cool facts. But there are way better uses than creating an information board, am I right? How else can you use custom audio recording? Well, one cool way is if we come over here and pick up our Guac. His name's Guac.
I wish I had some friends. Then we could have a party.
When you pick up Guac, he talks. But how annoying would it be if Guac was always talking, saying the exact same thing every time you picked him up? Well, we could do the same thing we did over there with our billboard and set him to have 2 lines that are switching back and forth. And they only trigger every so often, so it's not like he's just constantly going back and forth every time you grab him. Like every time you grab him, that would be kind of annoying, but you could set it to have a delay. So this is really cool. Let's go set Guac back down here. Now, how are we going to do this? Well, let's go ahead into our build mode and take a look at what we've got here. So, first of all, we have sound effects on grab. So here we've got some really cool features. When event grab start with player is received, if having set it is false, so we haven't set it yet, then move to the position of self, so wherever he's at, we're going to move the sound effects. So here's it's running on sound effects. And then we play the sound effects. And then we set said to be true, so it doesn't play it again. Now, if that's all you want, you just want him to say it one time, that's it. That's the end of the code. But we want him to say this every so often in case another player comes in or that player moves away, or we would just need another reminder. So we send my event to self after a certain amount of time, which we set as a variable. Then when my event is received, we set said to be false, so it resets it. There's another option here too, is if said equals true, we can have him say something else. So once it's been set to false, we can have a delay for when it comes back and it just like mumbles something maybe, or you could have something else happen. Or you could put a timer on it to make it say true after a certain amount of time, because when he's talking, and I'll show you the script for this, but when he's talking, you don't have him speaking, but if you grabbed him over and over again, it would just start switching back and forth, back and forth. So let's quickly take a look at the variables in here. First, we've got time, which is a number variable. We set it to a default of 90 seconds. We set said to false, so it always starts on false. And if it started on true, that wouldn't be good. And then we have sound effects, which is an object variable. And then we go into Guac, who is a grabbable object. We have the sound effects, which has been linked. We can see this is set to the default time of 90, but we could edit this if we wanted to. We're not going to, but we could. And it's very, very simple once you've got this. And you could run this on multiple objects. But how do we make it say what we want it to say? Well, we come in here and we create a sound effect, which we will see is here. Here it is. So here's our sound effect. And in our sound effect, you can see you have a record button. When you hit record, you just say what you want to say. Make sure your microphone is not muted, otherwise it won't record, and it'll say failed. But hit record. If you want to loop, I guess you could loop it. You can set the volume. I set mine to be at 100, so it was a little louder because I was talking a little bit quieter in that tone or voice. And then I increased the pitch to make it sound more, like a younger avocado named Guac. Is that what guacs sound like? Anyway, playing on start is false, so we've set global to be off because we only want this to play if we scroll down to a maximum distance of 25. We don't want everybody hearing this, and we want it to kind of get quieter the further away they are, especially in this world, which is kind of small. And that is how the audio links in. All right, so that's pretty cool. So now, how does it work over here on this billboard? Because this one is slightly different, isn't it? Remember, there's 2 audio. You can see there's 2 different audio recordings. They're the same as the one over there, but let's take a look at our info. You'll notice it's a little bit different than the one we used on Guac, because here, what we're going to do is run a Boolean that also stops the sound. So if you're playing the first recording, it'll stop the sound, then play the second sound. So if someone doesn't want to listen to the first one again, they can skip right to the second one. And this happens after a delay of 5 seconds. So you have to listen to it for at least 5 seconds before it'll stop, because when your finger's in the trigger, it's going to cause the trigger to keep going off and going off and going off again. So when trigger is entered with player, if they've set it is false, which it will be at defaults, then we want to stop sound effects 2, which we'll come back to later, and then we want to play the first sound effect. Then we want to send event set true to happen after 5 seconds. So after 5 seconds, it's going to go ahead and play true again. So in that first 5 seconds, when you're clicking the trigger, it's going to continue playing the original audio. It's not going to stop anything. It's not going to do anything else. It's just going to continue playing sound effects. Then we're going to send my event self after time, the same one that was in guac. This is the one that's going to set it to be false after a certain amount of time, so it resets to the beginning. Now, if sed equals true, we're going to do kind of the exact opposite. So instead of stopping sound effects 2, we're going to stop sound effects 1 and play sound effects 2, which is why we have to stop sound effects 2, because if it's playing, we need to stop it so it can start sound effects. Then we need to cancel sending event my event to self, so stop it if it's already been sent, because we're going to resend it. And after 5 seconds, it's going to send my event. And remember, my event is the one that sets it to be false again, so this just reloops it. Now, when my event is received, you can say it says set the Boolean to false, and sed is over here. So we can see we've got a sound effects, which is an object. We have sed, which is a Boolean that starts as false. We have time set to a default of 90, and we have a second sound effects. Pretty simple code. If you have any questions about it, please don't hesitate to ask. And hopefully this helps get you started. Obviously, there's a lot more ways you can work with this, especially if you start messing around with like sending events and times and delays. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. If you're looking to do more than one sound effect, which I know some of you are, instead of using a Boolean, I'd recommend using a number and have it run if statements for each number that add 1. And when it gets to the final number, set it to 0 again, so it restarts. So you could do the exact same thing, but instead of saying if sed equals true or false, you say if sed equals 0, if sed equals 1, if sed equals 2, and so on, and then loop it back to the beginning using a very similar code. So hopefully this helps. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye!